We start before is hi, welcome to the A to Z movie show. I'm Charlie, your average moviegoer.
And I'm AJ Beltis, your local movie guru.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Okay, let's keep this.
Cool.
I like this.
All right,
cool. Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to A to Z. Welcome back to A to Z movie show. It's been
five.
We
4
met
years.
5 years ago. We recorded this last episode.
Actually, 3.5.
We finished the last episode in 2014. So it's been,
in like the spring of 2014.
Yeah, so it's been 3.5 years.
Yeah. Wow, actually feels like longer.
But we're back. We both had much worse hair.
Oh, that's so true. You're looking a lot better.
Thanks, Charlie. So
that's when you say you too.
Yeah, what I didn't.
Okay.
So today, like we said, A to Z is back, and today we're going to be talking about Three Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Wait. Most of the audience here isn't going to know what we're back from.
All right. We're back to being harassed by David,
who is our roommate now, as he was 3.5 years ago. I don't even know what to do with that.
So, for some context for all of you, Charlie and I started this little shindig 4 years ago, back in the...
Even more than that.
No, it was fall semester 2013. So...
It was?
Yeah, because I had a TV show my freshman year. I had a segment of a TV show. And you made a couple appearances on that.
Wait. Oh, yeah, okay.
But
yeah,
you never
yeah.
were like... You were like
That's
kind of
right.
a guest star. We did like Skyfall and Christmas movies and stuff.
Wow.
Whereas,
we sound like very old people reminiscing about a time long, long ago. That was not long ago at all.
And then after that time, I sat down with my broadcast journalism professor, who was an anchor out in WPRI, and we were just talking, and he said, "Do you guys have a radio show?" And I said, "No." But he said, "All right, well, you have to get a radio show." And so I did.
He was a comm major.
Yeah. And got a radio show. Charlie wanted to do it too. Two of us got started.
Did I?
You did. You were excited about it.
I was?
I thought you were.
Oh, all right.
Charlie and I did it for a year. Charlie ruined our chances of becoming famous by following his happiness and transferring. And then I carried the show on for 2 more years with other co-hosts. Shout out to Clayton and Inez. If you guys are listening, you guys did awesome.
Hey, maybe they don't want to be mentioned on this.
Well, maybe they don't, but I just mentioned them. And so after that, Charlie and I found jobs in Boston, reunited, and feel so good. And we got the gang back together, got the band back together, and we're recording again.
Yeah, good stuff.
So we're back right in time for Oscar season. We'll be covering some of the big Oscar picks for the year, and hopefully we'll be getting you guys going for awards.
All right, and the first movie we're reviewing, we just saw about an hour ago. Three Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, or you could just call it Three Billboards, like everyone. I actually do kind of like the title, though. It's unique.
I hate it.
Do you notice how they didn't capitalize the
outside.
O and outside for some reason?
I don't know what that was about.
That was strange, because I feel like you would capitalize that.
I almost want to say it's a proper word, but it's not like a the or an and. Like
no, it's not at all. Outside, that's an important... Without that, it makes no sense. Three Billboards, Ebbing, Missouri, that makes no sense. Anyway.
So, Three Billboards follows a mother who takes matters into her own hands after the police in her town are unable to find a suspect in her daughter's murder by purchasing 3 billboards shaming the police for not solving the crime. This leads her to confrontations with the police as well as her fellow townfolk, which are exacerbated... Did I say that right?
Yes.
By personal drama among the police officers themselves. Stars Oscar winner Frances McDormand from Fargo, Woody Harrelson from The Hunger Games, Sam Rockwell from one of my personal favorites, The Way, Way Back, John Hawkes from Winter's Bone, and Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones.
Okay, I know none of those people. Some of them
you
look
know
familiar.
Frances McDormand.
Some of them look familiar, but I don't know their names.
I know you know Woody Harrelson because Haymitch is your favorite character from Hunger Games.
He's him?
Yes.
Who was he?
He was the cop who...
The shitty cop?
Well, without giving much away, he's a cop that we didn't see too much of.
He was. Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah. Yes, okay.
So, yes, that was Haymitch.
He did look familiar. Although he was not the one I was talking about when I said he looked familiar. It was actually the one that sat at, I don't want to say the reception desk, but like the front desk.
Oh, I have no idea who
he looks super familiar. But anyway,
I want to look that up.
It's not. He was not important.
Oh, and also fun fact that stars Caleb Landry Jones, who was the older brother in Get Out in this year's hit. The brother in Get Out. Remember?
Who did he play?
He played the advertising manager. And the Ebbing advertising.
Okay. I was thinking of the boyfriend for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, and it also stars Lucas Hedges, Oscar nominee from last year's Manchester by the Sea, also seen in this year's Lady Bird, which, Charlie, if you see that, we got to talk about it because I have thoughts on that as well.
Okay.
So, I think we've spent enough time catching up. Let's talk about the movie. Charlie, what did you think? Quick takeaways on Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I thought it was excellent. You know me. I sometimes... Actually, my thing is... I think that most movies are about a half hour too long. This one was perfect, and I actually was worried the whole time that they were going to do at the end what they kind of ended up doing, which is strange for me because normally I like those types of endings, if that makes sense.
What, the
kind
ambiguity a little bit?
Ambiguity, but more importantly, not the convenient or happy ending.
Okay.
I feel that that's underdone in American movies. Not that I know a lot.
Because you're a big foreign movie guy, Charlie. But
that is a thing, I think, and yeah, so I think it's underdone, and I do normally like that. But this time, because of the nature of the plot, I was hoping that it would be more of a resolution at the end. But it was still interesting, nonetheless.
Okay, so you're someone who enjoys a more ambiguous ending, and
in general, yes.
And you didn't get it in this movie, but the fact that no, you did get it in this movie.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
fact that you got an ambiguous ending in this movie made you dislike it?
Only because of what we're talking about here. So we're talking about horrific crime here, which they go into in some detail.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah, the main character's daughter was assaulted, raped, and murdered. And
by assaulted, we mean burned alive.
Yeah. And 7 months have gone by, and obviously due to the lack of evidence, because everything was burned, they couldn't really find anyone. And so the police have the case open, they have the case file, they were not able to really identify everyone. They compared the blood samples that they were able to salvage to the entire state, town, and domestic system, and could not find any matches. Therefore, just logically, the case had to have been put aside, and because there was nothing else really to work with there.
Yeah, kind of. Or at least that's the stance that the police department takes, and you can see where that might be the case. But you don't know, we don't know the details really beyond the fact that they say that they were out of leads, which is possibly true, possibly not totally true. We don't really know, and that's something that I think happens consistently throughout the movie. You can take the side of multiple characters. The main character, at the beginning, I feel like you do want to take her side. Obviously, she lost her daughter. She's trying to figure out what happened. But she does some things throughout the movie that are questionable and over the top,
say the
necessarily. Least. Yeah, but also you could say that most of those things are justified in a way, depending on your perspective on the situation, how you're feeling about it. Or you could also say that they're over the top, like her son thought most of the time. Most of the people in the movie thought, actually. But I did find myself throughout the movie siding with her more than I would say most of the audience probably would.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in and say that this movie did almost nothing for me. There were parts of this movie that I was indeed laughing my ass off. There were parts that I was smiling. It's a very darkly comedic movie, so there's serious moments of drama and not necessarily suspense, but you have sincere sympathy for the people who are on screen. But those scenes in the grander scheme of the film were few and far between for me. The characters did nothing for me. The only real characters that they... What? Yep, so the only real characters they go in depth with are Frances McDormand's character, who plays Mildred the mother. You get Woody Harrelson, who plays Sheriff Bill Willoughby. And you've got Sam Rockwell, who plays Dixon, who is, a racist cop who ends up getting a slight redemptive
which I thought,
edge towards the end.
Which I thought was I liked it, but it was a little bit unbelievable, especially since it happened over the course of 24 hours.
Well, this is something that I think we can go into a little bit later when we talk spoilers, but something happens in the movie that I think justifies his drastic change of action and change of perspective.
Absolutely, but it's just in real life, people don't change that quickly. But for the purpose of the movie, it's fine, and it was I did like it.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to rattle off a couple people here who barely got anything. John Hawkes, who played the ex-husband, you know, I think he did just fine, but John Hawkes is a fantastic actor. For those of you who aren't familiar with him, he was Oscar nominated for his role in Winter's Bone alongside Jennifer Lawrence. He was in the Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez film From Dusk Till Dawn, and he was also in the Elizabeth Olsen and Sarah Paulson film Martha, Marcy May, Marlene, which if you haven't seen that one, it's absolutely fantastic. So he really gets kind of pushed to the side here, and I understand that he's not necessarily a major driver in the story, but what I saw from him, I liked him a lot, and he really wasn't there enough to draw attention to. Peter Dinklage was just kind of there. I mean, Peter Dinklage played the dwarf, and so he ended up having a purpose a little bit, and at the
anybody
end,
could have filled that role, though.
Yes, exactly, and so it's just like, oh, look, there's Peter Dinklage there for a little while. Lucas Hedges, I thought, was pretty underutilized, and Lucas Hedges, again, Oscar nominee for last year. I thought he was one of the breakout stars of last year, and he's really earned his way as one of Hollywood's young up and comers. And we really don't see much of him, which is, I guess, from a filmmaking and production standpoint, you want to see a little bit more of your stars. And seeing as he is a star, I was upset not to have seen a lot of him. However, this movie is about a mother, and a mother who has lost the relationship with her daughter, and all that she really has left is the relationship with her son. And to not see, to not see them together, it was really strange for me, you know. And then so many little inconsistencies. So we're told that they're short on cash, and she just has no problem dropping $5,000 to create these billboards.
No,
we haven't even talked about the friggin' billboards.
It makes sense. But you're right. We haven't talked about the billboards. So, we should mention this.
Okay. So the reason that Frances McDormand's character Mildred makes these billboards outside of town is because she's sending a message to everyone who drives past those billboards that the police have not done their job, and she's just really drawing attention, saying, you know, why? What does it say? How come Chief Willoughby?
That's the last of
that's the last.
There are three billboards in a row, and then she uses each one to write part of a sentence, and it says something along the lines of raped while dying,
and
no
still
arrests.
How come Chief Willoughby?
Yeah.
So she does that, and that's the issue that kind of sparks the whole controversy of this. And then it's kind of a game of, you know, tit for tat. So one person ends up like ticking her off and then trying to sabotage her. They lock her friends up, and they do everything that they legally can to get her to remove the billboards. And then she goes back and tries to, you know, God, what'd she do? She'll go in and kind of tattle on some of the cops. But overall, I'm really lacking about things I want to say about this movie because it really did nothing for me. I
think you have a good point about the son.
But that's just one minor part about it. I
think that's valid because the three of them, the mother, the son, and the daughter who was killed, they do flashbacks and they show that they have a...
Flashback. One
flashback where they have a pretty, I don't want to say good relationship, but not really a good relationship at all. But they have a strong relationship.
Yeah, I see that.
And the fact that the son is not an active part of the mother's life, or at least not as far as we see in the audience, is a little bit strange. She still clearly cares about her son, so it's not like she's moved on and she's obsessing with this one thing. But so that, you're right, that's one thing that they could have probably improved on.
I'm just going to make one quick comment here. There's one other cop that we haven't mentioned who plays the desk sergeant, and Charlie was saying that he looks familiar. And this person played Andre Drazen on 24.
Is that all I know him from?
Possibly. He was in Heroes. He was in Madam Secretary.
Didn't watch any of that. So he's one of those like
Damages,
crime TV shows.
Yeah,
political
like method
TV
actor.
Shows.
So
yeah, okay.
Anyways, just quick aside there.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I recently started watching 24 again. It's very weird the second time around. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about what else we can throw out here. So characters for me, I thought the three main characters were great. We haven't really talked too much about Woody Harrelson, who plays Sheriff Bill Willoughby. And he's the one who is, you know, mentioned in these billboards. We see a lot of him as he struggles with the fact that he does care about what's going on, but there's really not much more that he's capable of doing at this point. Which is, I see what you're saying, where you can side with multiple characters, because you absolutely understand. Like, it's been 7 months, I'm paying you to do your job, why haven't you found my daughter's killer? But logically, there's really nothing more that they could have done without turning the entire country upside down.
Yeah, she even kind of alludes to that.
Yeah.
But
and so you see him really conflicted over that. He's like, I don't appreciate you calling me out, but I'm still going to try to work. I'm not giving up on your daughter. The case is still open. And there's just not really much more proactive stuff that we can do in this situation.
And when he's explaining that for the first time, he seems like he's an outlier in the police department. All the other guys seem more corrupt than him, and he is a little bit corrupt and not necessarily a model cop, but you can definitely see where he's coming from, and you can side with him, but you can also blame him because he's allowing all the other things that are going on in the police department to go on, and he also allows...
You're right, yeah, okay. So one thing, and this isn't really a spoiler, but we talked about it. Sam Rockwell's character, who plays, I'd say, the second most important cop in the film after Woody Harrelson's character, and he's a racist.
You could even say he's the most important cop. And at the end of the movie, he changes
he's got a really big
plot.
That's good. But yeah, he's a racist, and he's been accused of torturing and really has a bad reputation in the town. And that's where Frances McDormand's character comes around. It's like, you haven't caught my daughter's killer because you're too busy torturing African Americans and harassing them. And that's the interesting part, because you're right. There's one scene where Woody Harrelson is about to leave a room, and Sam Rockwell's character is talking to him, and Sam Rockwell says, I didn't do that. And Woody Harrelson said, yeah, you're right, there was no real proof that you tortured him.
Yeah,
and he said, there's no real proof or real evidence. And he just kind of nonchalant, Woody Harrelson's character.
Oh, okay.
He's just so nonchalant about the fact that he most certainly did
I wouldn't even
cross the boundary.
Oh, definitely, because he does it in the movie. Whether or not he did the torturing is another question. I think that's another example of the movie being ambiguous.
I don't think they left it ambiguous at all. I think they show it through his behavior, through his mannerisms, and through Woody Harrelson's reaction.
He's definitely abusive. But I don't know that he literally I don't know that he did something as horrific as you would see in
24,
a news story.
Yeah.
Like, more typical bad cop stuff, not craziness.
Yeah. So let's talk about, aside from the characters... Well, actually, I want to talk about Woody Harrelson. So Woody Harrelson's character in this movie, I think, is one of the more underrated characters. He's really sympathetic to, again, Frances McDormand's character's plight. But I like the fact that we see a lot of him and his family.
Wait, underrated by what? The audience or the people in the movie?
I'd say both. At least from what I saw. But
it seems like the people in the town really liked him.
They did, but I guess, how do I put it? I don't know. I just thought that... We can probably edit this out. But I don't know. I thought that... I liked his character a lot, so I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. He becomes more of a likable character as you go. Not because he did anything bad to begin with, but more because you get to know him more.
Yeah. With his family, with his daughters, and following them around.
He had some funny lines, too. Not funny... Like, he was amusing to watch. Especially his relationship with his wife was just, like, entertaining.
I liked the relationship that he did. Like, from a voyeuristic perspective, I enjoyed his relationship with the cops, even though in real life that would anger me, the fact that he was so allowing of their misconduct. Character-wise, again, weak. Overall, in my opinion, I know you disagree with me there, Charlie. Acting, I got nothing really against the acting. I think the acting in this movie was pretty top notch.
I think it was really good, yeah.
I like Frances McDormand. She was sharp as a tack throughout this entire movie. She had great line delivery.
No, so I don't know her. She's
in Fargo.
She's not like a character actor or anything like that.
No, let me do a quick look. I know that she was the star of Fargo. She won an Oscar for that, and... So
she doesn't always play this, like, tough woman, like...
Part of me says that she does, but I've only seen her in Fargo, and... I don't even remember her in Primal Fear.
I don't either.
That's a great movie, though.
Because that's one thing I always look for. I don't know a lot about acting. I would say that I can recognize good acting for the most part, but one thing I really look for is actors who always play the same character in different series, and that to me is not a good actor. I mean, anyone can play somebody.
Part of me is going to say that she was, because now that I'm thinking of it, I think she was in Almost Famous, and I think she was pretty similar in Almost Famous. She played a mom there. Okay. And she's been in a lot of Coen Brother movies, Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Fargo, The Man Who Wasn't There, and Burn After Reading, and Hail Caesar. So I'm assuming the Coen Brothers kind of get the same out of all their people. So I do think she is kind of the same actor.
Well, I still thought she was good, though.
Yeah, she was fine. Woody Harrelson, I've slowly lost my respect for his range because I feel like he does play a very similar character in all of his movies. If I look at True Detective and War for Planet of the Apes and this, I really see no big difference. I think Haymitch was one of his best performances.
Was he really that different? I guess he was.
He drank a little bit more as Haymitch.
I love Haymitch.
Sam Rockwell.
It's the only character I like in that whole series.
Katniss?
Katniss is okay.
Okay. So rather than discuss that, Sam Rockwell I thought was really good. I thought he brought the character a lot of justice. John Hawkes was good. Peter Dinklage was fine. Lucas Hedges, I don't know who to blame it on, but I don't think that I've seen this kid in 3 Oscar caliber movies, and this was by far my least favorite performance from him. Caleb Landry Jones as the advertising agency exec was good. So yeah, overall, strong performances. Nothing I think would really stand out. Nothing for me is Oscar worthy. Nothing for me is SAG worthy. Nothing is Golden Globe worthy. Nothing like that. It was solid performances for the most part throughout.
I think where this movie really shines is I kind of want to go back to the ambiguity of it and the realism of it. You can connect to a lot of the characters.
So, quick disclaimer. If you're here not for spoilers, check out the description. We're going to tell you when we start transitioning into our final rating, and if we transition into another topic, that'll be mentioned there as well. So feel free to skip ahead to that time if you do not want to be spoiled. But for now, we're going to talk a little bit of spoilers.
Where was I?
The ambiguity.
Yeah, so I thought this movie was the realism and the relatability, especially in today's cultural climate in the United States.
The hell does that mean?
What do you think it means?
I don't know. Please tell me.
The tension that you see in the country, especially between cops and
so specifically racial tension.
And also the political tension. Nobody in this country can agree.
Is it the distrust among police officers sparked largely by the racial tension?
Partly, yeah. Okay. The racial thing in this movie wasn't huge.
That bugged me too.
I saw a couple of reviews that talked about the racism and this.
No,
there are elements of that. But that's not what it's about.
Which
is good. I'm glad they included it as a side
thread. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's important because it's real life. Not to say that that's true of all cops, but that's a reality in some police departments.
The perception is a reality. It's a reality that is a perception.
Yes. So I like that. I thought the pacing was really good. I was never bored. I can't think of any part of the movie where I wasn't at least a little bit entertained, if not by the plot, then by the lines or the acting. Thoroughly entertaining. It had it was a little bit shocking in a couple places.
Such as?
Mostly the initial crime, and then a few actions taken by police. Also by the mother, too, which I'm not sure how realistic that is.
Now that we're in spoilers, I don't know how Sam Rockwell's character, Dixon, did not get thrown in jail for breaking 2 windows, one to get into the property, breaking and entering, assaulting somebody, and then throwing him out of a window, possibly killing him.
I can kind of see it because there weren't that many witnesses. There was the girl who worked at the advertising firm.
Yeah.
She might be afraid to go to the cops or whatever. That's one witness. The other main witness that I can think of was the guy who ended up being the new sheriff. There is a tendency, at least there's a perception, like you said, of a tendency for cops to stick by cops. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean defending them, but at least not ratting them out.
How about the person who was thrown out of a window and ended up in a cast and had a lot of scratches and pistol whip marks on his face?
Yeah, so I can see nothing happening to him. So I don't think it's terribly unrealistic. Yeah, so I like the movie. I guess we'll give it a rating.
We're sticking to a 5-star rating.
For those 5 stars. So I'm gonna do a 3.5 out of 5 for this movie.
That's a lot lower than I thought you were gonna give.
Yeah, so I used to give really high ratings because I have this tendency to come out of a movie liking it a lot more than I know I'm going to after a couple days of thinking about it. And I can already see that happening with this one. I still think it's a very good movie, but I do want to avoid giving it an inflated rating.
I'm still thinking about what I want to give it because I'm balancing between a 3.5. I'm sorry, I'm balancing between a 2.5 and a 3. because for me, a 3 is a recommended and a 2.5 is a not recommend. But let me just give you some examples and an explanation about why I'm on the fence. So I thought there was good cinematography. I thought that there was good acting. I thought that at times the screenplay did show a lot of shine, specifically on the dialogue that was delivered. What I'm really failing to see is I totally disagree with you on the pacing, Charlie. I thought the movie was going to end about 10 different times throughout the movie. There were 10 distinct moments where I was like, "Is that it?"
But I never wanted it to.
Okay, I'll give you that. I felt like I was like, "That's it. That's all we're getting." But they kept going. Yeah. So
I think that's okay.
I didn't like that. I don't like the way that movie played with time and my perception, and it was really strange. I didn't enjoy it, and
there's a point where I was thinking, what is the climax of this movie?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, you were really?
I was like, where's this going to go?
No, I'm not in a bad way, but like toward the end of the movie, the last 20 minutes I was looking back, I was like, what was the climax of this movie? And there were a couple points it could have been. I guess it could have been
Slight spoiler here. Go ahead.
Well, we already announced that.
Yeah, but...
Spoilers, yes. It could have been when the sheriff killed himself. It could have been...
I was going to say the attack on the police station with the fire.
Could have been that, too. It could have been when Dixon realized that he might have found the guy who did it, who did the original crime. Yeah, as you were saying, there's a lot of kind of back and forth.
So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why. That's why I feel... personally, again, that this movie did nothing for me. And so I'm going to stick by my gut right now and say, while there was a lot to enjoy and, from a filmmaking standpoint, a lot to appreciate, I don't think the average moviegoer would, and of course I'm speaking for you as the average moviegoer, Charlie, I don't think the average moviegoer would leave that movie saying, wow, that was a great movie. So I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 2.5 out of 5. Not to at all discredit the performances from the majority of the cast. It just, I could give the reasons again, but it would just be super repetitive at this point. It's just really, in my opinion, not worth your time or money. There's a lot to enjoy and appreciate, but overall, it's worth a pass in my mind.
All right. And one thing I wanted to add is there were a lot of characters in this movie who were entertaining throughout, but most of them weren't overall likable. And I think that's something, like I was saying before, how I like ambiguous endings, not necessarily a happy ending. I also like when the creators of a movie or a story or a book have the willingness to create characters who aren't necessarily likable, because that's something that audiences enjoy seeing. But also sometimes it's important for the story for you to have not likable characters, because that makes it a little bit more realistic. In reality, a lot of people aren't likable. So I did kind of appreciate that as well.
See, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'm fine with unlikable characters, likable characters who are unlikable people. And, to harken back to one of my classic examples of that, that's one of the reasons why I like Juno so much. Because Juno MacGuff is a bitch. But,
I love her. Are you kidding?
But you love the character. If you knew Juno in real life, you'd hate her.
No, I would totally hang out with Juno.
I hate Juno.
Oh my God, I would love her.
She's a terrible, terrible, terrible person.
No, she's not.
But that's one of the reasons why she's such a great character.
I disagree with you.
All right, well, we'll save that for a Juno discussion. But that's one of the reasons why I was also on the fence a little bit about Lady Bird. Speaking more to the people now, because I know that Charlie hasn't watched this movie. The lead character in that, I don't think she was a likable person, but she was a good character.
Okay.
So,
we're rambling.
I like rambling.
Yeah, I know, but we've rambled for a while. So that's a review of Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back, hopefully... What do you think, weekly?
I would love to do this weekly,
Charlie. I think weekly. At least for award season. I think weekly is very doable.
I'm down with weekly, too.
I hope you guys will join us for all our future weekly episodes.
So we don't really have a Twitter just now, but if you want us to talk about something, or if you want to tweet at us and tell us why we were absolutely wrong, you can just tweet me at AJ Beltis, and we'll address your comments gladly.
Okay. And we'll be setting up some other social media as well as we go on, so you guys can... touch base with us.
I don't think Bryant Movies would be very appropriate anymore, would it?
No, we might not want to do that. Definitely not that.
We'll set something up.
But yes. Okay. Thank you guys. Hope you guys join us in the future.
This has been the A to Z Movie Show.